start in 10 minutes. Yeah.
How's that? Can you hear me? How or what can you hear me? You're not giving great feedback here, man. Oh yeah. How's that? Can you hear me?
It's good.
Good? Test. How's that? Good? Hello. Is that too loud? Hello, ladies and gents. We are going to start this show in about 2-3 minutes. Please grab some beer. Please grab some food and start sitting down so we can have the keynote speaker and more in about 2-3 minutes. Boom.
We're not going to stream it, we're going to record it. I just know that points in one direction and they go to play. That's it.
How you doing? Do applications for a wedding. You would support a startup? What kind of yeah.
exciting.
I'll mention that I do it. Yeah. Let me know whenever. Hello, everyone. We're gonna begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know. I did that. Welcome. It's a great crowd. How are you guys today? Good. Word of advice, because I've been coming here for like a year. The beer's gonna run out, so if you want to grab that before we start. Who's first? Priorities. Whose first time is it over here? Welcome to the Tech Map. Welcome to our August meetup. So my name is Nobi, and I'm the MC of this event. And I'm going to go through about 5 minutes and talk about this meetup. Then Yuan's going to talk about the Tech Map, and then we'll have our speaker, and it's going to be kick-ass. So I'll jump right into it. So the crew, the founders, Yuan, Veronica, that you saw in front. I'm the pitch coach. I signed up last year as a pitch coach saying I'd help people because I did 3-day startup a lot. And I got sucked in, and I'm here every month somehow. And it's been a lot of fun. And we have volunteers, Lydia and Jonathan up front. So this is going to be I've seen these people for the last year, and I love them, and it's just a great fun event to do every month. So, what's going on today? The first thing, which is the case with almost all events in Austin, beer and talking. So you just mix and mingle. That was fantastic. And then we're going to have a keynote speaker, Melanie, right here. And then depending on how much time we have, we're not doing pitches this day, but we might go through a pitch workshop that I did at Founders Institute in Galvanize. And they're just an education platform for entrepreneurs. And we'll do what we do best in Austin after that, talk, exchange business cards. This is a networking event. We do have people come in and give a tactical, valuable advice about everything in entrepreneurship. But we do want you to talk, and who knows, you could find a business partner, you could get involved with us, or you can find a developer, or get hired. So at 9 p.m., can't stay here till 9 a.m., that's too much. At 9 p.m. we have to let you guys out of this floor, but you can go downstairs and talk more over there. So, as you've noticed, we've got, no, I lost mine. Darn it. So you've got these dots on your labels, I guess, and name tags. And so if you're looking for something in particular, when you only have an hour talk, and you're looking for a developer or an investor or a promotion, you can figure out who to talk to by looking at red is talent, green is investor, media is yellow, I'm yellow, and blue is entrepreneur. So if you're looking for someone specific, it's great to talk to people, but get what you're here for. And so our partners and sponsors. Whose first time is it in Capital Factory? Woo, welcome to Capital Factory! So Capital Factory is the center of gravity for entrepreneurship in Austin. It's been here for a long time. And we have Startup Crawl, Startup Week actually, which is in October that comes out of this. We have events, meetups, probably 5, 6 a day over here. We have a space here, that room, 3 downstairs. So if you do want to get connected with any tech or entrepreneurship or startup-related meetup in Austin, this is where it's going to be. And thank you for Capital Factory for this space. We love this space, so please do clean up after you guys are done. And also, so next is the Masters of Science in Technology Commercialization. And I'm in that program, but I'll let Mandy talk about that.
Hi, I'm Mandy Reyes with the MSTC program, which is the Master of Science in Technology Commercialization program. I see a lot of familiar faces in here. Raise your hand if you are MSTC.
MSTC.
Woo! Okay, so we are a 1-year master's program that teaches you how to profitably launch new businesses and products into the market. During your first semester, you learn market validation. You roll into your second semester and you build a business plan, and in your third semester, you build an operations plan. Our program is designed for working professionals. We meet on alternating weekends. Our application just went live, so great timing for you to be here today and hearing this. We have an information session on campus at the Macomb School of Business on August 30th from 6 to 8. If you go to texasmstc.org, you can register for that. Find me after this event. I'll be happy to share some information about our program, introduce you to one of our current students, and some of our alumni who are here today. So thank you for coming today.
Thanks, Mandy. It is a great program, but it's going to make your life hell. But it's a great program. It's worth it. And then we have the Austin Fire Show, which is my podcast. I interview entrepreneurs, creators, so that I can bring out tactics and strategies that creators and entrepreneurs and people like that in Austin can apply in their own lives. And I interviewed the mayor 2 weeks ago, so that should be out in a month. And do check it out, austinfireshow.com, iTunes, everywhere else. I did skip out something. Jonathan, one of our volunteers, would like to quickly come up and talk about his company. The long walk here, yeah, that's fun, isn't it?
Thanks.
Of course.
Hey everyone, my name is John Spiewak. I'm just volunteering tonight, and I've got a company called Monix. Monix is, we're running software that helps non-technical freelance entrepreneurs pursue their passions and their dreams by giving them, taking care of the technical headaches for them. We make a website, a mobile app, and back-end business tools to help them run their business. We're also looking for a UX UI designer. If someone knows someone who's really good at UX UI design, I'd love to speak with them. And we're also looking for anyone that might know someone who's a freelance entrepreneur and would like to beta test. We can give them a free account. Thank you.
Were you going to say something?
Just raising my hand.
For fun? Oh, cool.
Talk later. Talk
boom.
later.
Connection right here. So, and then we have Gilby from Golden Arm Media. Gilby.
Hey, I go by Gilby. I'm with Golden Arm Media. We are what we call brand storytellers, and we specialize in working with either companies or individuals who want to get their brand out there, build it up, and create something that will resonate with their clients or future customers that they want to have. We specialize mostly in video or animation, but we can do anything from blog posts, web design, things like that. Pretty much anything online, you come to us, we'll help you create it. For example, we have a client that came in last week, shot about a year's worth of videos, a year's worth of Zoom chats with his clients. And then he goes back home, we deal with it, we even deal with the distribution on Facebook and YouTube, and so connect with me if you're interested in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And last is Developer Week, which is a sponsor and is happening November 7th to 9th in Austin. About 3,000 people from around the US and I think around the world do come in, and just, if you're a developer or want to meet more developers, want to hire one, you want to become one, that could be a great place for you to do that. So let's get into the format. 40 minutes, Melanie's going to give a kick-ass speech, keynote, and then depending on how much time we have, I'm going to go to the pitch workshop. So lastly, before I give it to Johan and he talks about the tech map. So for co-founders, you guys know networking. You've been here a while, but since you are going to meet a lot of people, just have an elevator speech ready. I could go through the 4 points, but you really want me to do elevator speech breakdown? Yeah, she said no, so I'm not going to do it. Cool. Yeah, but you probably have one. So please pick up your trash. We're going to stop at 9. And did you park in the garage? Anyone?
Yeah.
Yes, so it's expensive and we can validate that for $5 at the front desk. Don't pay $20. I love Capital Factory, but don't pay $20. All right, so for that, I'll give it to Johan, who's the founder of the Tech Map.
Moby does such a great job at doing this. I love the fact that I can just sit back now and actually just listen, because I've been doing this for too long and it gets kind of old. So when Moby gets tired and starts doing it, please come talk to me, because I need a replacement. So my name is Johan Borch. I'm the founder and CEO of the Tech Map. Can I get the clicker?
Oh, yes, sorry.
I know you guys probably tried to sign up to our site, our platform, either yesterday or today, and there was a lot of issues. Some good, some bad. I guess the bad one was the fact that you guys couldn't log in or create an account. The good one was that we had a lot of hits, so actually we had to expand our servers. So that's one of the things that we had to do that today. We expand our servers more, so it's costing us more, but we need your support to actually get this going more. So let me go over a little bit of what exactly we do, why we built this platform. So you guys see on the front page, this is pretty much how your profile looks. When you go to the website, you can look for people based on their talents, or they're looking to get higher, and where they're located as well. We created a site for basically as a map, where you can see where all the companies are, which one are hiring, where the co-working spaces are. So when you visit Chicago and you want to connect with other people, you can go to the map and check out what co-working spaces are happening and what events are happening in town. So that was the reason for the map itself, and you can look that up. The next thing is the groups. So we started we use Meetup. That's how we started. We saw a lot of problems with Meetup. So we started getting all their API and we pulled all their events. So now we have events from Meetups that we pull from there, and you guys can check out what the event's happening and from those Meetups itself. If you are an organizer for a Meetup, come talk to me, because I'd love to get you in the platform, and we can do some kind of partnership. Then we have jobs. So people that are looking for jobs here, you can check out what jobs is happening. But the best thing is this is all free. We're not Indeed, we're not anybody like that. We're just trying to make sure that people connect with the people that's going to hire you, not to go through a computer monster and see if you're eligible to be hired or not. This is more like one-to-one person connection. We started doing this group labeling, so anybody that actually has organization that wants to use our platform, run their directory, run their membership, run all their events and their companies, they can use our platform as well. And we're looking for people for partnerships for this if you're interested. And of course the events. This is the events that's happening all in towns, in Austin's or outside of Austin's. So the major reason why is, how many of you here, I guess you guys use Meetup, but how many of you attend events and kind of wonder who's going to be there and who do you want to meet in that room? Well, this is what you get in Meetup on the left side. You get sometimes pictures of people, you get first name, initials, so you don't know really who the hell you want to meet there. What we created is this, where in our platform you can see who's attending, their background, and you can connect with them before, at the event, and after. So that way you don't have to pass business cards, you just make connections easier. So that's what we're trying to build here, and it's all free. We do have verified membership that instead of paying $12 or $15 or $20, you pay $10 a month, and that helps us support, and you get a lot of features with the platform. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, come talk to me. Oh, and of course, we do want feedback, so just let me know, me or Moby, how we can do better. Thank you.
Thanks, Johan. So, tonight we had Melanie doing the keynote today. I saw her speak at 3 Day Startup to round up about a month ago. And for the last 3 days, I heard people talk about entrepreneurship. And I love that, I enjoyed that. But I heard Melanie speak, and she talked about wellness and take care of yourself, and just the insanity that is when you say, I'm going to do a startup, especially if you're doing a full-time job. And I was just blown away by how much I related to that. So today, to talk about the very same things and more, Melanie is going to be here. She has a company called Wellshift, which is tries to focus people from, hey, wellness is just not about fighting disease, but it's about expanding human potential. And she's also the executive director of Well, which is a conference which promotes wellness in corporate culture. So I will shut up now, and I have Melanie take the stage. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi everyone, how you doing? Awesome. So I'm really happy to be here. Sharing with people like you is one of my favorite things to do. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. And as Moby said, I gave this talk at the commencement speech of 3-Day Startups Conference just about a month ago. And Moby asked me if I'd bring it here, so I've done that. When I did it there, I didn't use any slides, but I thought visuals might be nice because I know sometimes people want to take pictures of things to remember. So what I'm going to do today, if it's okay with you, is dive into my personal story of some of the experiences I went through in my entrepreneurial career. And I'm going to share things that don't often get shared, that are extremely vulnerable. After I do that, I'm going to give you 5 tools to set up your life in a framework that will help you avoid some of the pitfalls that I made along the way. And then after that, we'll open up for Q&A. Does that sound good? Okay. Okay. So, you are all here, you're all founders or want to be founders because you have an idea, you have a suspicion that you're capable of building something absolutely extraordinary. Raise your hand if that's true. Right. And you totally are. But my question to you is, what does it mean to be extraordinary? What does it mean to live an extraordinary life? And I think as founders, when we think of people who lived extraordinary lives, we think about Elon Musk or Oprah Winfrey or Mark Zuckerberg, and we want to be just like them. And we want to build these amazing startups and leave our mark on the world. But when we're thinking about that and about the extraordinary things they've delivered, what we're not thinking about is what it's actually like to be that person. What's it like to wake up every day and live the life Elon Musk is living? This screenshot is from an article from August 2nd, so it's 2 weeks ago. Elon Musk says he may have depression, just like millions of overworked Americans in their 40s and 50s, except in startup land, it's now starting as early as teenage years. So we think creating an extraordinary contribution to humanity is what it means to be an amazing founder, but we're not listening to what it's like to actually be the founder. And so the message I want to share with you tonight is that it's not about what you deliver to the external world, but what you're doing to your internal world along the way that's going to matter. Because at the end of it, when you're on the deathbed and you lay down and think about what you've done, you're going to think about your experience, you're going to wish it was fucking awesome. So that's what I want to help you focus on tonight, is living an extraordinary life in the way that it feels wonderful to be you on a daily basis. So, my startup life. Wellshift is a corporate wellness company. That was a great attempt, Moby, at explaining what we do.
Yeah,
Thank you. So essentially, we deliver wellness activities into organizations. And we started sending fitness instructors, massage therapists, and scientists, doctors, nutritionists, people who could speak about what wellness was. And companies would purchase this on an activity basis. And, I'm the chief everything officer, so I'm the lead salesman. And I do my cold calls and my cold emails, and I set up my meetings, and I go in. And the conversation always went something like, well, we're running a weight loss competition right now, so we don't need this. Oh, we're playing Biggest Loser, so we're all set for the quarter. And I went to at least 100 of these sales meetings, and I heard this at 90% of them. And I just intuitively thought, there's gotta be more to well-being than just weight loss, right? We don't step on the scale every day to make sure we can have a good day. There's something much more important in this picture. And so my definition of living an extraordinary life was, of course, making an extraordinary contribution to the world and building an empire. And after enough of these meetings and getting frustrated, I came back to my team and I said, that's it, we need a conference, and I'm gonna change the world, I know exactly what we're gonna do. And instead of talking about weight loss and making everyone feel like there's something wrong with them, I mean, literally these companies are inviting employees to come secretly get weighed in HR's office, right? In this like lockbox, no one really knows what the numbers are. What does that make you feel like? That's a culture of fear. My company is telling me I'm fat every day. Who wants to work there? No one wants to work there. So we need a conference. And at this conference, we're going to redefine what it means to be well. We're going to expand the definition beyond weight loss. This became the ultimate mission because I love speaking in front of people. So I'm like, well, I'm going to build this big old stage and we're going to tell this big story and it's going to be amazing. Except what I did instead was create a future of failure. I got very, very scared because I've never created a conference before. And I had no idea what I was doing. And we didn't raise a lot of money. I didn't really know how to manage money. And all I wanted everyone to know was that I'm a successful entrepreneur. I'm on my way to 30 under 30. I'm going to be on the cover of Forbes and all the sexy things. So instead of asking for help about how to create this conference, I hid myself in isolation. I had a little apartment cottage. It's a sister-in-law house. Only Austin has these, like a house behind a house on the east side. And I would sit in my house behind the house and have my Eventbrite page up and just refresh it over and over to see how many tickets got sold. And if anyone runs any kind of analytics on their company, I know we've all sat in front of the screen and hit the refresh button over and over to see if anything moved. I had to sell tickets because live events aren't like launching a website. You can't just fix the bug. You fail in front of everyone in real time. So we booked the conference to be at Brazos Hall, and Brazos Hall holds 300 people. So I said, well, we'll have 300 people with no plan about how to get them. And I spent the next 4 months absolutely panicking. I'm going to show you what panic looks like in the body. Has anyone heard of something called heart rate variability? Okay, so heart rate variability, also known as HRV, is developed by a nonprofit called HeartMath, the HeartMath Institute. I recommend you do a little reading on them, it's fantastic. And heart rate variability is a measure of stress. So if you look at the top graph, you'll see HRV looks very smooth. The variability is not very variable, right? You've got nice smooth ups and downs. And in the bottom, it's going wacko. Your heartbeat is just losing its mind. And you can imagine that if you stay in the state for a long, long time, you might eventually experience a catastrophic event. People whose HRVs look like the bottom one are on their way to having a heart attack. So when you think about Elon Musk and most Americans in their 40s and 50s who are overworked, walking around stressed every day, this is how you step on the path to chronic illness and catastrophic events. While you're walking around like that, you're also not breathing. So what I want everyone to do right now is put both feet on the floor, kind of sit up straight, giving you a little dose of wellness, what I learned along the way. When you're stressed, you're walking around breathing with 1/3 of your lung capacity, which is starving your body from oxygen, starving your brain from oxygen, so you obviously can't perform your best. When I was stressed during this conference, I remember going for a run and I literally couldn't catch my breath. I also think I started developing an ulcer, just from being worried so much. So we walk around stressed, we're breathing up here. And the real way to breathe so that you relax your body is to actually expand your diaphragm. And we never do that because we want to suck in and look awesome, right? But what I want you to do right now is take a deep breath in, and instead of holding in here, expand it like you've got a balloon in your diaphragm. Feels a lot different. So now you're increasing your lung capacity by 2/3. Every time you stop and do that, you have the ability to flip your brain waves to get you out of a stressful state. So all of these things are happening at the same time. This is a state I was living in for 3 months, leading up to the conference, 3 or 4 months. So if you remember what heart rate variability looked like, it looked very much like this line over here, the smooth ups and downs. This is alpha brainwaves. When you're in alpha brainwaves, you're in the most creative headspace you can be in. It's like flow state. Has anyone heard of flow state? You're in the zone. It's just coming to you. You're getting new ideas. You're whiteboarding like crazy, and that's where you want to be. But when you're stressed out and you're not breathing, you're actually experiencing beta brainwaves, which is the top, which eerily looks a lot like HRV, right? And beta brain, also known as monkey brain, keeps you in a reactive mode of repeating past patterns, which means you cannot create new innovative solutions to anything. So not only are you not breathing and your heart rate's freaking out, which is leading you closer to a catastrophic event, you also can't fix it because you're just stuck in reaction mode. And so you end up in this awful, awful spiral. Fast forward to the conference. It ended up being beautiful. It was an absolutely wonderful event. The night before the event, this panic state that I was in, and this is important, spread throughout my company for the whole time I was building the conference. And my co-founder started to panic right along with me. The night before the event, at 3 in the morning, I get a phone call. He's my developer, and we were also relaunching our brand, relaunching our site at this conference while we launched the conference, so a lot of stuff was on the line. And he called 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and he said, Mel, I broke the site. I'm not coming to the conference. And he was going to hotspot the whole event and, you know, man the booth and do the co-founder thing, in which I launched into a total panic attack, which looks like hysterical crying, like, can't catch your breath. My boyfriend was there and he helped me through it. I was supposed to be ready at 6 in the morning. My team was going to show up and get all the boxes, and we were going to create this amazing conference. And they showed up, and I had my bathrobe on, and I had bags under my eyes, and I was like, you're just not going to ask me what happened. And they didn't, and they took all the stuff, and I met them there later. I don't even know how I gave the opening keynote to the event, but I did, and it came out rad. But I wasn't even present for it, and it really was a beautiful event. And after the conference, my team started celebrating, and I dropped down on my knees and started crying. It makes me emotional every time I tell the story. And someone on my team came up to me, and he was like, oh, are those tears of joy? And I was like, yeah. But they were not. I killed myself building this event. And it was like this release that I have been waiting to have. And everyone left and went out to lunch and got drinks, and I went home and I got under my covers and I hid for like 2 days. I was completely depleted. And after you go through something like that, I don't know if anyone's ever had a panic attack, or similarly if you get like a migraine headache, whatever you get on the other side of something like that that takes your breath away, you just kind of like in this zen, super calm state. So I'm in this state and I'm sitting on my couch, and across from the couch in my old place was a bookshelf. And I remember looking across at the bookshelf and thinking, man, I must be missing something super fundamental about life, because I'm working really, really, really hard, and I think I'm smart. Like, I'm not totally dumb. So I don't, what am I doing wrong here? Something I don't even know I don't know. And sticking out from across on the bookshelf is this book called The Power of Now. Has anyone ever heard of that book? That book changed my life. I read that book and realized that I was waiting for some validation moment to finally be happy. Oh, when the conference is full, when all 300 people buy tickets, that's when I'm a successful entrepreneur and everyone will like me and I can be happy. Oh, when my company makes this month this much in monthly recurring revenue, that's when I've officially made it, and my mentors will be proud and my investors will be proud, and now I can go out and play. And so you're kind of dangling this carrot about this one day that you get to be happy. One day when my conference does X, Y, Z, I can smile. And you never actually get it because you're placing it in some future state. And I learned that the happiness that we're seeking outside of us in this external world actually is available at all times in our internal world. And that we are the only ones in charge of that. And that was a major distinction for me. And I'm actually going to take a page out of my friend Ruben's book. Ruben, are you in here? I had the opportunity to hear Ruben speak at Creative Mornings the other day, and he did an exercise that I thought was really powerful, and I want to try it out here as well. So this distinction is so important that it's a message I've been sharing ever since, and it's part of my purpose. There's a lot of different ways you can say it, but I think this way is very simple, and I want to have you repeat after me on the count of 3 and say, I am in charge of my own happiness. You down with that? Give it a shot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm in charge of my own happiness. Hell yes, you are in charge of your own happiness. It's in your hands in every single moment. And the 5 tools I'm going to give you are going to be about how to enable you to do that. So I've been working on these tools for years. I started practicing right away. And I was so pumped about it that I was like, well, we need to do another event. And I have to tell people that I know what happiness is now. I have to tell them exactly how it works. So I did that. It was in this room. And I invited all these different HR teams because that was my deal, you know, selling to companies. And I said, we're worrying about weight loss and we're talking about wellness, and we have to understand how to create happiness within all of our people, you know, and I know the answer. And from my lowest low, from that complete collapse, from that catastrophic event I had at the conference, came the most beautiful high. I did this event and I told people, you know, I know the distinction. And 3 months later, I got a phone call. And it was from a woman who came to the event, and she said, Mel, I went to your event about happiness, and your event changed my life. And I realized that I'm the one in charge of my own happiness. And you know what? I've always wanted to work at Google. And I quit my job, and now I work there. And now I want to bring Wellshift in as our wellness provider. And I got this phone call. I was alone in my kitchen in my pajamas. And I was like, who is it? Google? And I was like, holy shit. That's like the logo, the company customer that you want on your website calling me, dropping 40 grand on a wellness program. Which, by the way, that contract closed in a week. Enterprise. So, there's a twist to the story. Because that sounds like a happy ending, right? The funniest thing happened. 2 weeks went by, and I woke up, and I'm still wearing the same pajamas. And I'm wearing the same socks with holes in them. And I'm eating the same scrambled eggs. And I realized it seems to me that this doesn't really matter. I thought this was supposed to matter. I thought this was like the thing. Don't I float up to the startup castle in the sky now? Like, shouldn't everyone be calling me? Shouldn't I be wearing silk robes, you know, walking around and just living the life? Oh, look, it's just me again. And this twist in the story has a name. It's called hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation is a phenomenon where for humans, whatever circumstances you're in, you get used to them really fast. And so they just don't seem to matter. And it works both ways. So you get a raise, and you get something really good, and you feel good about it for like a month, and then you're used to it and you want more. Also, if something bad happens and you have to shift your life downward, the good news is in 2 months you get used to it, and it just feels like life again. And so it occurred to me once more that all the things we think matter on this entrepreneurial journey, these achievements, they don't. It's not what's happening outside of us. So when you had the suspicion that you could live an extraordinary life, and I told you it was true, it is completely true. But I want you to think about it from a different angle from now on. I want you to think about it as how you're going to live an extraordinary life from the inside, because your monthly recurring revenue is not what's going to matter. There's a study that says, I think it's like over 60 or 70 grand in salary a year, your happiness does not increase at all. And when you close Google, that will only last 2 months on your happiness radar. I'm find proof of that, unfortunately. So what we want to look at is what it's actually like to be you in your state of creation, in the action moment, in the flow zone. What's it like to be you in the go? Because the dots along the way aren't going to make the difference. It's the journey that you create for yourself. My friend the other night and I were talking, and she said, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you better like climbing mountains, because you'll be climbing them your whole life. And so how do you make that journey as beautiful as you possibly can? Start within. So I've got 5 tools, and if it's helpful for you to take pictures of them so you can remember, feel free to do that, and I'm happy to give these slides out after also. So the interesting thing about building a company that's great news for you is that building a wonderful life and building a wonderful company have a lot of parallels. So a lot of the things that you might have learned at Capital Factory University or in whatever books you read about the foundation of building a company can apply directly to your life. And the first is defining your mission. I learned the importance of this from a woman named Susan Yenzer, who's actually here. Susan, can you wave? If you need any help building your company from a mission perspective, from the human resources values that are going to count, that are going to drive purpose, Susan is the person to talk to. So when you are thinking about the mission of your company, I'm wondering if you ever stop to think about what the mission of your life is. Why are you here? What do you want to do for you? And someone recently asked me how you find that, and I think it lives at the intersection of your passion and your purpose. So when you think about your passion, for me, I'm doing it right now. I love speaking. I don't know why. I like teaching. I like speaking in front of people. It feels amazing to me, and I know that. So when I think about my passion, I'm like, okay, well, that's my passion. And sometimes I have to fight with myself about how much ego lives in there, and then sometimes I just let it go and decide it's okay to be me. And then there's your purpose. Who do you want to help? How do you want to serve? You can apply your passion in any way. You can pick those 2 different intersections and create a unique application for you. And once you figure out your mission, you want to create a vision about how that comes to life. So for me, I want to help people understand that they are the creators of the experience of their lives. You're the creator of your experience. You're in charge of your own happiness. You can live an extraordinary life in any moment. And I want to do that through speaking. Well, where am I going to do that? Who am I going to do that with? How are we going to monetize it? And there's so many different angles, and I have got 2 different organizations that I'm running that are helping me live out my mission by thinking about different visions of how it comes to life. So when you start to think about your vision, this is actually something where you kind of want to hide in a dark room, close your eyes, and dream. Because whatever the mind sees, you can create. It's one of the superhuman powers that we're the only animals that have that. If you can see it, you can create it. So giving yourself the time to create a vision that helps you live out your mission will actually start to let you do the superhero things you imagine yourself doing. When you're clear on your vision, the next thing you do is uncover what your core values are. Does anyone know Gordon Doherty from Capital Factory? He's the director of the Accelerator, I believe. And I've had the opportunity to have him as a mentor. And I took one of his classes once, and he said to me, core values, or to the whole class, not just to me, the core values are what help companies make some of the hardest decisions they'll ever make. Where they're deciding if they should take this customer, shouldn't take this customer, should hire that person, should go after this new market segment. They're going to hold it up against their core values, and if it rings false against any of them, that's how they know which way they'll go. So as humans, we're faced with over 1,000 decisions a day. And every time we make those decisions, you want them to be lined up with your core values so that you feel wonderful in your own skin. There is nothing like the feeling of saying something out of integrity or giving your word and breaking it. You just feel shitty, and then you kind of hide from that person for a while until you just kind of hope it goes away, you know, or you don't talk or whatever happens. But if you maintain integrity with your own core values, you're able to stay to your word way more often. I have, might be 8 or 9 core values that I'm very clear on. And again, this is something I've been working on for 4 years now. And so to help you figure out what your core values are, there's an exercise that you can do. And the first step is actually to start with what it is you want. So when you think about your vision for your life, you might have pictured a house in Miami, and a house in Austin, and also I want to have 3 kids, and I want to make millions of dollars, and I want to travel all around the world, whatever it is you visioned. You've got a list of the things you want. Those are your what's. You can use your what's to now back into your why. Why do I want 3 kids? Oh, because I really value family connection. Cool, that makes me feel good. Why do I want to travel all over the world? Oh, I want adventure. I want an adventure life, which, by the way, is one of my core values, adventure. Have to have it. So I won't make any decisions that keep me away from adventure for my life. Another example of a core value for me is freedom. I want freedom of my time and my space. So I won't commit to an office that I have to go into every day because that takes that away from me. And then my life feels bad to live. So you want to create a life that lines up with whatever your core values are so that it feels great to wake up and live and be you every day. And maybe that means freedom of time and space too. And now you're going to start to consider how you can get a remote job, right? Or what are the baby steps that get me to line up with my core values? So we did mission, vision, and values, following along the path of parallels of building an extraordinary life and extraordinary company. You need to create a personal financial framework. I threw all my money into my business right away. My total savings account, I even liquidated my 401k so that for that conference I could hire a call center to call 5,000 businesses in Austin 3 times to convert X many tickets so that the room was a little fuller. And I was like, well, that's fine, because obviously we're going to make tons of money after the conference, and then it'll just work itself out. And that it doesn't really work that way. You have to make a plan, and you have to keep yourself very safe. After I spent all our money, I had more than a year where I didn't know how I was going to pay rent every month. And I have to tell you, it's one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. You're walking around with glasses, the shade of fear, and you don't even know it, and it's painting every single decision you make. So you have to set yourself up with a financial framework so that you don't put your happiness on the line by starting your company. And there's 2 things to think about when you do that. There's your immediate framework. So you want to have at least 3 months of expenses in your savings account at all times in case shit gets real, right? I didn't have that. I spent it all. So when it got real, it was like real. Like scary real. And I just don't want that for you guys. I borrowed money from my brother. I hated making that phone call. I hated it. And he was always super cool about it, but if he didn't do that, I don't know how I was going to pay bills. And then you want to think about your long-term self. You want to start investing for your future now. And this is just a good practice whether or not you start your own company. There's a few really easy things to do. One practice that I really like is every time you buy something new for yourself, deposit the same amount into your savings account right away. Kind of like an auto deposit. And that way future you has money waiting and you're not just putting all the eggs on one day, I'm going to be like Mark Zuckerberg and build $1 billion company. Because you might find out 2 years into it that building $1 billion company doesn't actually matter to your experience of life, which is what I discovered. And the last tool of the 5 tools is your team. Has anyone read the book Good to Great? He talks about getting the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus. Same thing with your team, but your life team. Life team is the most important team. These are the people who are going to pick you up when you're down, who you're going to laugh with. This is who you're actually living with on a daily basis. And this is hypercritical. This is what makes up a majority of the way you're experiencing life, is by surrounding yourself with people who make you feel wonderful with positive vibes. And these people, there's 3 categories that I think are really wonderful to intentionally place people in. The first is a role model. And I don't want you to think of role model, again, as someone who's created something amazing. I want you to find someone who's lived life where they felt extraordinary on a daily basis. They just love their life. Whether they're being adventurous, they're being creative, they're being authentic, they're just clearly loving life. Those are the role models we want to look at. Not the super depressed startup grind billionaires. That's not a fun life. Okay, so that role model can be dead, it can be alive. It's someone who's done it that you can learn from. So either way, if there's an autobiography written on this person, grab a copy, just get it off Amazon and read how they did it. I've studied a lot in wellness, and one of the things I've studied is actually the link between the thoughts in the mind and the creation of disease in the body, and also the reality around us. And there's a school of thought called neurolinguistic programming that talks about how you can get in charge of your thoughts and intentionally design your life. And it's for short called NLP. And NLP says if one person can do it, anyone can do it. Because the only difference between me and you is the software running on this piece of hardware that we're all born with. So it's just a matter of reprogramming a new reality and then living into it. And by reading the autobiography of someone who's lived an extraordinary life that you want to live, there's a roadmap of how they did it. I'm giving you mine. The next category in Life Team is mentors. These people have to be alive, not optional. And this one's really important because as you start to live into whatever extraordinary life means for you, I promise you that your definition is going to be different than everyone else out there, because we're all completely unique, which means it's never been done before. What you want to do has never been done before, just impossible. So you're going to have questions that you're not going to be able to find in books, and you're going to want someone to ask and be like, hey, am I crazy? Someone who's done something along the path of what you've done. Whether it's you want to adventure and travel the world, how did they do it? How did they live nomad life? I'm exploring that right now. Whatever those things are, find someone who's done it and be able to call them and ask questions. And the last category in Life Team is friends. I didn't put family in here because I'm a big believer in chosen family, and sometimes that means blood relatives and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't want to force that on anybody. But friends is really important, and these are the people that you can snotty cry with when things are really hard. Support groups show up over and over and over again in all the happiness studies about what's the difference between certain countries in the world and their happiness factor, and it has to do with community and support. So if you can have a group of people that you trust, 1 or 2 people, you're setting yourself up for a life that feels really good. So you might want to think about who those 3 people are and intentionally start to keep them close. So I think those are the 5 tips, and I want to leave you with one thing before I go, and it's the fact that you are a leader, and you're the leader and the creator of your own life. You might think leaders have to build great companies to be someone to look up to, and that's just not true. And you're the only one who's going to make the decisions that make you feel happy on a daily basis or a monthly basis, or it's a practice, right? I don't wake up every day and have like a giant smile on my face. I practice these things that I'm sharing with you truly. And along my wellness path, I've had the opportunity to work with the global head of recruiting for Whole Foods. His name's Andres Truslavina. And he told me there's really only 2 traits that you need to be a leader. So for your life, there's only 2 traits you need. And the first trait is to have a vision. And if at any moment during this talk tonight, you actually did a little bit of visioning when I said, what does your amazing life look like? That means you have one. That means you have a vision. So you've got the first characteristic of a leader, and the second characteristic is the ability to inspire others to believe in that vision with you. So when you think about Life Team and the people you really, really trust, these are the people who you want to share what your extraordinary life looks like. Share what your values are. It's fun to do that, actually. I do that. I have a group that I meet with on Mondays, and we talk about neurolinguistic programming. Actually, we're all studying it together, and we share our core values, and it's really interesting to see what some people value. You learn a lot. But we all support each other in our visions, and it actually makes it exponentially faster to create because you feel believed in. So if you follow the tools, you will have everything you need to be the leader in your own life. And whatever you do build, I hope that you remember that the most important thing you'll ever build is yourself. Thank you.
That was great. I'm not sure how to follow that. All right, cool. Thank you so much, Melanie. I mean, from your last speech, I still remember a few phrases that you talked about at the start of, but this one was, don't live a life that's bad. What was it again? It's just...
That wasn't it, but that sounds
is that something like that? It can get really hard, and thank you again for being here. So, we have, Q&A, by the way. Did you know how to do Q&A?
Yeah.
These are nice people, I promise. Q&A, let's do Q&A. Noble.
Is it safe to assume that you share this framework with your team?
Oh yeah.
So I'm assuming it's heartbreaking to watch them like mature through this thought process and then realize the paths kind of diverge. Like once they understand what their mission is, their purpose, and their motivation. Wasn't that the mission? It was purpose and motivation.
Mission, vision, values.
And so as far as like, how do you find what somebody's true passion is when you're first meeting them and trying to bring them into the team? Because it's hard to tell if it's a realized thing and they might just, be effervescent or explain it that way.
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, I bake it into my interview process. So whenever I'm hiring someone, there's a 3-step process, and in step 2, I go through the company's mission, vision, and values. And I ask them some hard questions. I'll pick out a particular value and ask them how it lines up with their life. And I'll pick that value based off of intuition. That is the one I think they might not believe in, and see kind of how they line up with it. And the second thing I do is have continuous conversations about what their vision is for their life. Just today I got lunch with my Texas sales director and asked her, I have a vision of where she'll go in the company, but I don't know what hers is. Maybe it changes. So I just checked in. Like, so in 2 years, are you seeing what I'm seeing? So those are 2 guardrails you might be able to put in place.
Try to extend it over time. So you get to know a person for a longer period than just their interview.
You could do that. Yeah, you could have a contract before you marry kind of thing. I do that. I do that, yeah. And then they say fire fast when it's not a match. But I think there's a mutual conversation there too. So instead of assuming, make it a conversation and check in to be sure. Yeah.
Where do you find the balance between making a meaningful contribution to the world and making sure that you're not sacrificing too much of your own happiness or your own well-being, kind of balancing those two?
One way to do it on a daily basis is to carve out time to just nourish yourself. So I have a morning routine that I do every morning, and my roommates here and can vouch. Every day I wake up, I make coffee or tea, and I sit on the couch in my room and I meditate. And then I throw my dog in the car and we go to a park. And I can tell you all the things I do, but I do a bunch of sequential things in a row that lasts about 2.5, 3 hours. And then I start my day. I don't let, another thing I do is every day blocked on my calendar is 9 a.m. to 12. And I use Calendly. You all familiar with Calendly? Tell people schedule. So no one can book me before that. So the only way you're getting at my calendar before 12 is if I let you in, which means some days I don't start working till 11. And that might blow your minds, but I'm intentionally building a remote company because freedom of my time and space matters to me. And sometimes I don't like to work till 11, and so I don't. And I feel completely balanced by honoring that.
Totally. So I'm kind of thinking also with groups like Solar City or Tesla or other industries, these might be like a huge service to humanity. You know what I mean? And maybe if these individuals didn't work so hard, they might not have made as big of a service to humanity. What do you think?
Well, I don't think working hard has to be painful. And I also don't think working hard is productive.
Yes.
So the natural cadence of productivity is 52 minutes on and 17 minutes of rest. There's a technique people use called Pomodoro. It doesn't follow it 52-17, but it's an idea of putting a timer on for 15 minutes and then taking a break. And if you don't give yourself the down cycle time to replenish, your productivity and quality of work goes down. So, unfortunately, it's the phrase work smarter, not harder. And so those companies can adopt a new progressive culture like that and deliver amazing things to the world without grinding themselves. Yeah, sure.
Just curious, what's your wellness program like? How long is it?
The wellness program has radically shifted. So, guys, it turns out bringing exercise classes and wellness workshops to organizations isn't really an effective way to bring in a wellness program unless leadership is so bought in. And when you get to these really, really big companies, it's extremely hard to enable that. We're talking about building out systematic approaches that take 5 to 10 years to implement, to shift the system. So for our company, we were selling 4 different types of services. After years of watching contracts continue on, the most stickiest benefit that we have is massage. And so, like, that's weird, you know? Like, I didn't imagine starting a corporate massage company. But it actually makes a ton of sense. Remember all the stuff I showed you about stress? Going to a wellness class doesn't exactly relieve you of that. Massage instantly cuts you out of beta brain into alpha brain, and you're in a severe state of relaxation, lowering your stress by 80%. And you don't have to do anything to get there. So that's actually where we've shifted our focus, is on delivering massage days. I had a lot of different options, and I've tried a lot of different experiments, and that's where we landed. So that's what it looks like, and those look like 12-month contracts. Yeah.
Last question?
Yeah.
Can you tell what some, I know you don't want to go too detailed, but some stuff you do on a daily basis? You mentioned like dog,
like my
taking
morning
dog, but
routine?
yeah,
Yeah.
and also how you found mentors.
Yes. So daily routine stuff. I highly recommend making your mornings your own, because if you wake up and jump right into working, you don't get a sense of yourself. So wake up, coffee or tea, you don't have to do that part, and then meditate. So I don't meditate, I meditate for like 6 minutes total. I'm not a 20-minute meditator. And it breaks into 2 categories. First is just sitting and trying to get into zero mode, or that, you know, special blank space. But every time I hit it, I'm like, oh, I'm there, and then I lose it. So I do that for the first 3 minutes, and the second thing I do, and I'm estimating whether it's 3 minutes or not, is actually a visualization practice. And I visualize my highest, best self. So like when you do that, remember I said that what you see in your mind is what you actually create? It's extremely, extremely true. So I try and be as intentional as I can about what pictures I'm showing myself are real, because your body actually can't tell the difference between what your mind tells it is happening. So when I was creating this future where no one showed up to my conference, that's when my body started speeding up and getting inflamed, and you know, all those bad things it's reacting to a thought. Anyway, so that happens with negative thoughts. You can intentionally place positive thoughts in your mind and create those instead. So I want to create the most awesome me I can see. And so I picture her, and she does different things on different days. Sometimes she's teaching. She's always ripped. And a lot of times I'm speaking. Sometimes I'm sitting in a circle talking to a lot of people. So visualize your high self. It's a really fun exercise. You're going to be a super badass in your mind, and then you're going to be like, man, cool, right? And you kind of like live into it. So it's a really good practice. Then I get into nature. So lately my favorite thing to do, you'll find me in Zilker Park 3 out of 5 mornings. Other mornings I'm on the Greenbelt. And if I'm in Zilker, I tend to be barefoot, and I connect into the earth. So I just kind of ground myself and look down at my feet and remind myself how lucky I am. And look up and remind myself, and walk around the park with my dog for a while. Sometimes I run around with her. And then I come home, and I would say 3 out of 5 days a week I work out. For me, that looks like 15 minutes and just body weight stuff, really getting into pull-ups and push-ups and things like that. And then I shower, and then I start. And all of that takes about 3 hours. You're welcome.
All right. Cool. So we have 25 minutes. I'm going to race through, once I find my stupid mouse, I'm going to race through a quick pitch workshop, because this is a lot of what this event is about. Does this work? So, I'm going to time myself because I'm a stickler for that. Cool. Let's do this. So, TechMap is a lot about pitching. You're leaving already? I just started talking. So the TechMap is a lot about pitching, right? And I see a lot of pitches over time. And I've seen about 250 pitches over time in Austin, El Paso, Pakistan, and Boston. And I have to say about 40-50% of them are really, really terrible. It's because of three things. People don't get what you're doing, and people don't understand how this is an opportunity for them, and also people don't believe you can actually do it. So today I'm going to be talking about these three things and how you can make people actually get the point. Quick about me, Austin Fire Show, three-day startup facilitator. I recently helped a company win $360K at a pitch competition, the WeWork Creator Awards, if anyone was there. And so, 3 goals of the pitch, how to achieve these goals, doing it well. I'm going to be super fast. Goals of a pitch. The goals of the pitch aren't promotion. I'm sure that's one of the ways to do it. But the goals of the real pitch are people get what you're doing. If you're standing in front of a group like this, and you're talking about your company, and in the end they think, I don't get what this guy or girl is doing, you're out. They're not going to remember, they're not going to care unless you do something really funny or stupid or charming, and that's hard. Second is the goal of the pitch. They believe this is an opportunity. You can make money, they can make money off of you, or they can work for you. This is an opportunity in some way in the market. So you've got to communicate that. Third, they believe you can do it. This isn't hard because you have to go through the first 2, and that's the hard part. So I'm going to go through the first 2 especially today. Okay. First part. I will send this slide, so you don't have to take a lot of notes. Let's talk about these 3 pitches. I'm going to talk about getting it, believing this is an opportunity, and also believing that you can do it as a founder. So let's get into I get it. First of all, if I'm in front of you and I'm talking about a company, I have to tell you who my customers are. I hope it's in this. Yes. If I am selling athletic shoes for women, my market is not women with feet in the US. I have to define it for you. I have to tell you that there are XYZ amount of women in the US, but a certain number of them buy workout clothes. A certain number of them buy workout shoes. I'm going to sell to them. Okay, where do they buy from? How do they get their referrals? What's their budget? Do they shop online? Where do they go if they want to buy offline? I have to know these numbers. I have to tell you this so I can get a number and say, my market at the end of the day is about 5 million women on the planet, in the US. And if I don't tell you that, then don't say to anyone, hey, we have $1 billion potential market, and if we get 1% of that, we're good. Never works. Never works. So define your market. Ask questions like, how are they good with technology? How do they find out about your product or competing projects? Oh yes, cute dog, right? So with a lot of startups, the thing is there's customers and there's users. If I buy dog food, I am the customer. This guy is the user. You have to define quickly who your customer is, and if you have users and customers, make that distinction so that people are not confused moving on. Anyone here doing a 2-sided market? Someone raised their hand. Woo! Sweet. So let me know about that. This is hard for founders, and I completely understand. Define your problem. This is pretty much the whole anchor of your pitch. People don't pay things that they just want. Businesses, customers pay for things that solve a problem for them. You have got to define for the customers that you already talked about what their problem is that you're solving. Top 2 to 3. Could be 1, could be 2, could be 3. Don't go beyond that, otherwise people will think in the audience that you don't know what you're solving. Airbnb, their problem, they had 3 problems. Number 1, price is an important concern for customers booking travel online. Number 2, hotels leave you disconnected from the culture. And thirdly, no easy way exists to book a room with a local or become a host. Yours might not be right in the start. They might have shifted. This might be their 10th pitch. This is their actual pitch deck, actually, the one they got funding from. So if you have a problem, if you have hypothesized as a founder, this is the problem I'm solving, try to boil that down as much as possible. Later on, you could talk about it for 10 minutes, but it stems from one single sentence or 2, 3 short sentences. If you don't have that, people who've heard pitches before can tell this person doesn't know what they're solving. Have that problem down. Solution. Again, boiling it down, boiling it down. You can talk about your solution, everything that's wonderful about it, and how much you love it, and how much you're going to be rich off that. For 30 minutes, you could talk about it. But you need to boil it down and start. So, for Airbnb's problems, their solution was a web platform that does 3 things. Helps travelers save money, helps hosts make money, and helps people share culture. Oh, and the web platform where users can rent out their space. Airbnb, that's what they do. Define your solution. You might change it as you talk to customers. You might pivot, just like you talked about. You realize that massages work really well. You might pivot, but whatever you have to prove or invalidate, you have to write it down. To have it down, and it's always cool to hear someone say, we thought this is what we were solving, but we changed our mind after talking to customers. So, customers, problem, solution. Once you talk to audience about that, they'll get what you're doing. Now the part is, how do you convince them that you can make money? This is another example for YouTube. So, cool. Making them believe in the opportunity. Once you've gotten to the heart, one of the hardest parts, which is making them get it, customers, problem, solution. How do you make them believe this is an opportunity? Market size, business model, competition, and differentiator, or UVP as we call it, cool startup land. It's the same thing. So, boom. Market size. If you haven't defined your problem and customer set, you probably can't do this. The market size, there's potential and there's demand. It's small, so almost no one can see it beyond this row, but there's total available market. In the best case scenario in the world, how big is your market if you get every single customer that you can potentially touch? For Airbnb, their example would be anyone on the planet who books a trip. Anywhere, doesn't matter. If they book a trip 30 miles away, Airbnb is going to do it, and they're going to find a place. That's not really true, that's potential, not demand. So that's your total available market. Depending on what your problem is, who your customer is, you come up with that number. For Airbnb, it was 2 billion. Trips booked worldwide. They're not going to get to that, but that's a starting. Second is serviceable, available market, which is who can you target? For Airbnb, it's very simple. You target people who are on a budget, and you target people who shop for trips online. So that comes to 560 million. Cool, cool. Break it down. But first, know your problem, know your customer. Solution, you can change that, but you have to know this. And these don't have to be exact. 560 is a big number. They don't have to be exact, but you have to have a number. I heard my marketing professor say, once you make a plan, it's obsolete the second you pull your pen from the paper. So write it down, because things will change, but you need a starting point. Third is a beachhead market, or target market, or serviceable, obtainable market. Do you know the beachhead reference, where that comes from? What?
Crossing the chasm.
Yeah, crossing the chasm, but like that's a wartime reference for World War II. So where is the place you're going to attack first? If you have a market demand, potentially, of 560 million, how are you going to get into that area first and then expand? If you're a company here and you want to sell to a certain amount of users, you might start in Austin, or you might start in Dallas or something else. What is the smallest market, the niche you can get into, and make them love you so you can expand? Talk about that, because people are going to ask you, How are you going to get customers? Well, we're going to have Google ads. Cool. People are not going to believe that unless you have proven it. Second part of making them believe this is an opportunity is business model, which is important because as much as it's wonderful to have your name on a card saying CEO, the more important part is making money. So how do you make money? Who's early stage right now? Pre-revenue. Cool. So right now what you have is guesses, and that's okay, but you need to have it defined. This is simplistic. These are 4 lines for YouTube, which said this is how we're going to make money. We are going to have advertising. We are going to have pay for pay distribution channel. We're going to have a premium features thing and premium content. This was when they started. The last 2 parts, charge members for premium features and content, is YouTube Red, which came out 2 years ago. They didn't even get to the rest of their business model until like 10 years later. What you have right now are guesses, especially if you're pre-revenue. But that's okay, as long as you put it down. So, and also, unless you're super popular, most people, when they hear the word, I'm gonna make money through advertising, they're gonna think you're not gonna survive 6 months. Because that's what a lot of people say, I'm gonna make money through advertising. Probably not. Or I could be just a dick right now, who knows. Okay, cool. So you talked about, this is our market size, right? This is how I make money. Cool, am I making money right now, or are people interested? Let me prove it to you. And you can talk about customer validation or, oh, that's traction, okay, cool. Oh, ignore the word existing alternatives. And now that I made you look at it, you're not going to ignore it. Great. Cool. So how can you show that you have traction or there's market interest, right? Traction and customer validation. You can use your competition. Airbnb said, look, there are 660K people on couchsurfing.com. People want to live with hosts. There's a market for it. There's demand. Second, there's 50,000 temporary houses or places that are on Craigslist every single week. There's supply of this. We can actually do this. We can connect these 2 markets. Now, if you're really, really early stage, you can do this. You can say, okay, we have this data, secondary data from this database. I think we can give these guys what they're looking for. Or if you're selling to startups and Capital Factory, you can say, I talked to 20, 15 of them said, give me a call next week. Or, depending where you are, we just sold 20,000 orders in the first week. Or we're 6 months in and we're making $4,000 a month. Show attraction, show that you can actually, you have been doing this. Or, if you haven't, this is how we're going to start. It's never too early to pitch your idea. Never too early. And these guys don't have anything. This is Airbnb. They're just saying, oh, look at these numbers with 2 competitors. We can do this. This is idiotic, but it worked. Don't wait to pitch. So, unique value proposition. This is hard. How is your company, how is what you're doing different from the 20,000 in a 1-mile radius, especially in a tech hub in Austin? How are you different? Could be cheaper, could be faster. You could have better customer service that results in value. You could just be on a different platform. You could use AI. How are you better? Why you? Why should I go and book a contract with a company for 6 months who might not be here for the next 2 years? Why should I do that? What makes you think that you will stick, that people will want what you have? Think about why you're different. Include that. Last part. And we're right on time. I'm just going through this. Woohoo! So, I talked about traction here. Sorry, it's been a month since I've done this, but okay. So, how do you make people believe that you can do this? And there's a lot of early stage entrepreneurs in this meetup, which is great. They're fantastic. And I still say it is never too early to pitch. How can you make someone believe that you can execute? You'll stay here for a bit. since you talked about problem, customers, problem, solution, they get what you're doing, right? And then they understand, this is an opportunity, cool, this guy or gal can make money, I can work with them, or maybe I can invest in them, cool. But why you? Especially if you're early stage. Can't I just give your idea to someone and they can do it? Why you? So you can show traction, and also you can talk about team. And after Melanie's speech, I realized I should have passion like big on there. So traction. How do you prove to someone that you can do this? Even if revenue, if you're making money, that's great. If you have users, that's great, especially if you're making something which you say that you will charge advertisers for. If you have 50,000 users that come back every week, it doesn't matter how stupid your thing is, people will just stop and listen to you. People will pay attention because you built something that's good. Even if you're not making money right now, that's okay. If you have users coming back, that's good. Signups. What if you have nothing right now? You don't even have a website. You have an idea and you're playing around, and one of your friends who you think is smart told you, hey, put an ad out, show it to 10,000 people, and see what happens. And you put an ad out, you have a short video, maybe 3 lines of text or a picture, and people click through. They came to your website and said, and you said, I don't have a product, but sign up. Look at your conversion rates. Hey, you haven't built something, but people have signed up. Out of those 10,000 people, 1,000 people said, yes, let me know. That's huge. Let people know. It depends on your stage too. If you're 2 years in, then revenue might be the best way to show that you're doing something good. Partnerships, this could be valuable. Partnerships and press, there's nothing like going on a company page, or I do this with a lot of people who are in digital marketing. Go to their page and just look at the logos on their page. Ooh, they work with Google. They work with this company. Oh, they have press. Ooh, they're working with this. Ooh, I believe them. It's social validation. You people believe when you've been covered by the Austin American Statesman. You're like, this company kind of knows what they're doing. That's amazing. Even if you have nothing, if you have press, you can get by on that for a while. Second, team. There was a guy who pitched his idea 3 months for it. And I listened to him. I think he's in the UT MBA program. And I didn't understand what the hell he was doing. Nothing. He was talking about consulting. That's all I remember. Because it was just I hope he's not here. It was a great idea. The pitch was pretty bad. I got nothing out of it. I was sitting right here. Like here. I don't remember anything. I don't remember what they did. But the best thing about the only good thing about his pitch was I could tell that he knew this industry in and out. And when he stopped talking, only one person asked a question who said, because I've been in this industry, I understand that you know it really well, and I'd like to talk more. Still, terrible pitch. But if you can weave into every single thing, every single slide, every single sentence you say that I know this market better than anyone because I've worked on it, or I read all about it, or I'm just some genius who can get everything right now. Talk about it. Say that you know this market. Sometimes that's what passion is. Like, I will care about this so much that I will know this market inside out, and I will go through it, and you can't stop me. Connections. You could literally talk, and this goes into the partnerships part, which is if you're making, I heard a pitch at Texas Venture Labs a year ago, and they're building a music app, and I was listening to it and I said, that's stupid. Also, you can tell I'm skeptic. But at the end of the pitch, he mentioned 2 big music companies that he had been working with as partners, and now they're in talks with just getting partners. They're going to work together. They're going to fund him a little bit. I'm like, wow, I believe this guy. Still think it's stupid, but I think he's actually going to do something. So use that. Like, for example, if I'm making if I have a company and I say, I was just featured on Tim Ferriss, no one can stop me. Like the Tim Ferriss podcast. Cool. So we have, I think, 7 minutes. I'm going to run through this real quick. Who gets afraid of public speaking? I don't believe you guys. That's bullshit. 3 people. Okay. Okay, cool. So, for those who raise their hands, and are honest people, and the other ones,
Maybe you should ask who's comfortable with public speaking.
who's comfortable with public speaking? That's actually really good. I'm really impressed. The first time I was here, I had 3 beers and my hands were like a... So if you are nervous, it's okay. Take a breath. If you're nervous, take a breath and you will calm down or you will feel slightly better. No one's telling you to go through it fast. I'm just like this because I don't know why. But take a breath. No one's going to say, talk faster. Nope. And almost everyone is afraid of public speaking, or they used to. Take a breath. That's not what the slide was about. This slide was about telling a story. I just realized that. Let's do this again. Cool, doing it well. Sit down and tell a story. A lot of great pitches, they start with a story in which gives, it's genius. In 40 seconds, they can talk about their problem, customer, solution, and unique value proposition in like 40 seconds in a story. This guy talked about, he was driving his girlfriend to Kansas, this guy's 19, and he saw a warehouse on fire. And he said, why, it's 2016, why is that thing still on fire? Why can't we catch fire faster? And he started researching that, and he found out the fire detectors just don't work that well. So he built one which was infrared, and that's better because of XYZ. And for the first minute of his pitch, I got every single thing he was talking about. Who he, and it was for businesses. Who he's solving it for, what the problem was, what the current solution is, why his solution is better. I got it in 40 seconds. Sometimes you don't have time, but sometimes you don't have to go through the whole thing of customer, problem, solution. You can just put that in a story. So sit down and tell a story. You don't want your, have you seen this meme? Anyone? Where am I on the internet? I don't know. Cool. You do not want your audience to think in terms of what is this person doing? Why? I don't get it. You don't want that to happen. Just tag them along. Tell a story. You don't want them trying to figure out how you're going to be successful. You are trying to prove it. Have you seen this meme?
That was funny.
Oh, thank you. Yes, cool. I still can't believe it. You got the slide, right? Yeah. I have seen this slide honestly about 30 times in my life. Mostly in this room at Capital Factory, 3-day startup, because they talk about pitching, and I still don't know what this is. It says Toyota and Samsung, right? Don't ever do this. Doesn't matter, even if you're talking about a financial roadmap, or just your budget, or whatever it is, do not ever use this. No one's going to remember. People are going to think about Twitter or whatever. No one's going to remember. Better. I know this is about tea, but still, what do you think this is about? Tea, like forecasted tea volumes. No one cares. No one cares. No one's going to care. I don't care if this is the most important thing that you ever heard. If I don't tell it, or say it, or show it well enough, you're not going to remember. This is cool. 76% of workers prefer to work at home, 1 day a week. I don't even like the 1 day a week, but one big number that exemplifies everything you're trying to solve, or your customers, or their pain, or your traction, or how you're different and better. Small. Cool. I'm almost done. It's okay to say, I don't know. People can tell when you're BSing them. You ask them a question, and they keep on talking. And talking. And talking. You're like, this person's full of shit. They can tell. And especially if you know something about that industry or company, they will know. If someone asks you a question in a pitch, say, I don't know, but thank you for asking. When we find out, I will reach out to you. Can I get your card? And if they're important enough, that's really great. You just got an excuse to talk to them. If you don't know something about your market, your solution, anything at all, say, I don't know. Do not Be like this guy. I think this is the last part. Cool. So if you're nervous, and of course people are super confident, I know. Practice in different places if you're gonna make a big speech. Like do it like there's no feedback. Just practice like this for a bit. It feels weird, but every time I practice like this, I'm not gonna step on this, I'm gonna fall. The more you get used to different situations in which you're nervous, the more you're used to them later. If I do that in 5 different places in this room, I will be less likely to stutter when someone asks me a question, or I fall, or no one laughs at my joke. It's not happening today, but but if you're practicing, don't practice in the same place. Your car, shower, house, roof, do it everywhere. Second thing is workout or meditate before. So important. Whichever works for you, do that before. If you're speaking at 6, work out at 4, take a shower, and come here, take a shower, and just go do your pitch. It really helps. Slow down. This is what I was talking about in the start. I didn't slow down, so take a breath. It's all right. I love talking fast. I need to slow down more, but this is way better than what it used to be. Trust me. So if you're nervous, like, no one's gonna care. So, what did we talk about today? Pop quiz. I'm kidding. 3 goals of a pitch. How do we achieve those goals and do it well? So 3 goals of a pitch. Number 1, them getting it, your audience getting it. Number 2, how do we achieve those goals? No, sorry. 3 goals of a pitch. I looked at my watch. Making them get it. Make sure that the audience knows what you're doing with your company. Second is making them believe that this is an opportunity. Someone can make money. And third is, what was third? Yes, making them believe that you can do it. There's many ways to do all of it. And if I give you a blueprint, it probably won't fit all of you. And the closest fit that anyone can probably have is 90. Because everyone's different. Everyone has a different company. Everyone has a different stage their company is in. But take some advice and figure out what's the best way for you to pitch. Second is, we talked about achieving these goals and then doing it well. One last trick, try improv or Toastmasters. I did improv for 10 months. It was great. So I do Toastmasters right now. If you want this pitch, you can email me at moby@austinfireshow.com. But I think, yes, that is it. Thank you. Cool. And, well, thank you everyone for coming. I hope you had the beer you wanted, the food. Melanie, thank you so much for doing this. It was fantastic. Otherwise, any feedback? Good? Bad? You have some feedback? Well, that's good enough. Cool. Let's stop it at there. Let us know how we can improve next time, whatever it is. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time.
Thank you for doing this. No, he never did this. I'm not saying like last year. Of course. Excellent job. Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Can I give you a small idea for Capital Factory? Do you see the amount of light on my face right now?
Yeah, pretty much. It's all right.
The audience is lit. The speaker's in shape.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is kind of any Baptist church knows.
Reach out? Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I got it.
Good luck with it.
Everything good with you?
Doing good.
Yeah. So shall we talk about it?
Oh yeah. I work from home. So 7 hours on the computer, I want to be around people.
Yeah.
I get to walk around, get free samples, everybody knows me. And
I used to work at Costco for a long time.
it's on the access road on the way home too.
It's great.
So I was a regular somewhere.
Still are? It was like almost every day. Yeah, I think so. So like he came up to me and he's like, I know I recognize you, and I'm like, I recognize you too. What is it? It's from some place you go all the time. What is it? He's like, well, this is what I did first. I'm like, no, it's not that. Costco.
Well, I said North Austin, and he goes,
Yeah, I worked there for a long Well, I can't say the same for some of my coworkers. I have no idea.
which is when the speakers are up here, and you're wandering, especially for the video.
I wander a lot.
Anybody, so she wandered too, and good speakers generally do. So just toss 2 LED, those little lights, so you get a precision. 2 little LEDs up there, you got to switch over here, just flip them on. Makes much better video, which a lot of speakers want to video themselves. Unless you're 2 times darker up here.
Well, I technically am
Yeah, rub on stuff, dude.
I gotta leave on that note. That was too bad. I can't stick around for any more of that. Hey, good seeing you guys.
Anyway, just a thought for Capital Factory, invest in that, and they can flip it on, and if they put a rheostat or something in there, it just would make you pay attention. Did I get it right?
No, I don't have my card. Just email me right now.
Can you email me?
I have your contact. I've met you at the design. It's been a while.
That's been a while since I've been there, yeah.
1.5 years was at a booth.
The same thing is, you're so good at the stuff, I need to get my pitch. Because I've got something every startup needs. To look good visually. So if I can send you my workshop stuff, when you get a chance,
How's it going, man?
Chester.
Logan, nice to meet you, Chester.
Was your
Austin Fire Show.
Jerry, I think I saw you at a meetup in the last 2 weeks.
I know grad school right now. Surprise!
I think I saw him about to go to the end of the day.
That's great. That's great. All good. That's awesome. Okay. Okay, sweet, that's awesome. Ooh, I like that. He thanks his parents every day. Yeah, retail, man, for sure. Not your card.
I like I was actually met Johan 2 years ago.
Oh, sweet. Okay. That was awesome. Oh, we might, yeah. We might. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's okay. Make the most out of it.
I'm sure you gotta help close this thing down.
We'll be down. I'll do that.
It was really actually interesting. There's no like
what? At what part? Oh yeah. I was like, oh shit, I gotta go to this.
You can still do it.
I like this couple, man.
You're gonna do it in
Yeah.
I can be will tomorrow.
You should do it.
I like it. Everybody else will now.
You can be whatever you want.
Well, technically, I think they're closed today.
Some places tomorrow or
tonight. Finally tomorrow.
Oh shit.
We'll see how my notes. Finally, it's working like they go to your time, like there's going through the whole deck. Let's do it just together because I just